Let's start with the session again. I warmly welcome you all to this session today on understanding the prevention of sexual harassment at Workplace Act 2013. To cover this session today, we have our expert, Ms. Meghna Makkar. Ma'am, I welcome you to this platform today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so before moving ahead, I would like you to give a brief intro about Ms. Meghna.
Yes.
We have our expert, Ms. Meghna, with us today with over 23 years of rich corporate experience. Meghna Makkar is a seasoned HR professional and a certified trainer, known for driving meaningful transformation through mindful leadership, inclusive practices, and strategic HR interventions. Meghna has been at the forefront of POSH implementation since the Act came into force in 2013. During her tenure at Times Internet Limited and subsequent roles, she played a pivotal role in establishing internal committees, framing organizational POSH policies, and ensuring full legal compliances. Today, she continues to champion workplace safety and dignity by serving as an external IC member for various organizations. As an independent corporate trainer, Meghna leads workshops on POSH, diversity and inclusion, POSCO, performance management, and personal growth through her acclaimed program, A Life by Choice. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us here on this session today.
Thank you so much, Ayushi. It was a wonderful introduction which you've given for me. So I have been into this industry POSH industry, I should say, for about more than 10 years or so, actively into the making people understand about POSH. POSH today is very important in terms of how we as an industry, how we as a workplace have changed with a lot of people, a lot of genders, a lot of diversity coming in. The cases related to sexual harassment sadly has really gone up. Hence, this becomes a very important act as in today's scenario. So as I start, I would like to set some ground rules here. So maybe next slide, please.
Okay, just a moment.
Some ground rules is like you guys can keep a notepad handy somewhere close to you so that you can make notes while the entire presentation is on. Keep making your questions also in notes so that you can put it later on in the comment box. Thank you. So starting with the objectives of the session. What is POSH? And what are our understandings about it? We'll also cover what are the key definitions of sexual harassment, workplace, employer, employee, how to file a complaint, that is the entire process behind filing a complaint and its resolving, the timeframes related to it. We ultimately aim to create a gender sensitive and harassment free workplace, which I'll explain you through real life case studies. And then I'll take you through some of the best practices which organizations can take care of while ensuring being compliant with the government and gender sensitization. Next slide, please. What is definitely not the objective of the program is to create fear among the employees, to create fear among men that they can't talk to women. Many of you must have seen this memes, floating that after a POSH training, men go into hiding. Stop even handshake is a very far off thing. Stop even being within the 1 meter periphery of any female. Well, this is definitely not the objective of the program. It is more about how do we conduct ourselves appropriately. Next, POSH. So POSH, as per the definition in the Act, it is prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace, and it deals with prevention, prohibition, and redressal. And it is enacted in India in 2013 and deals with women at workplace. Right. Let me talk a little bit about the history here. How did this act actually come into place? So in 1992, there was a case which talks about a lady, Bhavri Devi. 1992, there's this lady Bhavri Devi, who is a social worker, and she belongs to a small village near Rajasthan. As a social worker, her main task was to take care that girls who are younger than 18-year-old don't get married off. 18-year-old is a big thing I'm talking about. Bhavri herself was married out when she was just about 5-year-old. And the situation that we're talking about is when she was trying to stop the marriage of a girl who's barely 1 year old. She did manage to save it through getting the police in action or through getting her social working organization into action. She did manage to ensure that the marriage did not happen specifically on the day that it was planned. But eventually, what really happened? When the marriage did not happen, the, the family of the female took their opportunity to rape Bhavri Devi and make her penalized for what she has stopped. But Bhavri Devi, being the courageous girl that she was always, took it up with various organizations, challenged the court, somewhere all in vain. She lost the case. First, she lost the case, and then, with support of the people who raised a hue and cry against the government of Rajasthan, she won the case. During this entire tenure, the major persons or major organization which helped her was Vishakha. Vishakha was another women development organization who helped her win this case, brought this case again to light that there has to be justice missed. Finally, around 1999, post Vishakha coming into the case, did she win the case. Government had set up Vishakha guidelines in 1997. These are guidelines also which are guiding an organization to ensure that the women who work in their organization need to be given a safe and secure place to work. But till the time their guidelines, organizations really don't follow them. Hence, in 2013, this was given the form of an act. When it becomes a law, it becomes mandatory. And that is where the act came into place. Taking it further, the purpose of the act. The purpose of the act is equal opportunity of work at workplace for all women. Next slide, please. Create safe work environment for women and men at workplace and create a dignified workplace. Now, why did this purpose come into being? Is because there were a lot of studies which started showing us that 1 in 3 women globally experience some form of sexual harassment at work. Then there were about 70% of women who experience harassment at work do not report it because of fear of retaliation. And there is no support. And another 70% of the workplace harassment incidents go unreported due to inadequate policies and lack of trust in the system. Hence, it was very important for the government to give that push to the women that they have not to tolerate any such thing at their workplace. Next, please. So we'll go next to the next slide, which is talking about the act. And basic thing is, what is sexual harassment? So I would like to read it out from the act first. Sexual harassment includes any or one or more incidents of unwelcome acts of behavior, namely physical contact and advances. So now physical contact and advances is like somebody like to touching you, somebody like asking you, what are you doing? Trying to touch your hand knowingly or unknowingly sometimes, trying to pat your back. These are like physical contacts and advances. Then we talk about demand or request for sexual favors. Demand or request for sexual favors is again very, very clear. When we are talking about a request, we are saying, can you give me a day and night of yours? So that's like a clear intent of a sexual favor wherein the person may not be willing to share his space with you. Third important point that comes into the definition is sexually colored remarks. Now I want you to hold on here a little bit more. Sexually colored remarks. People often are very confused with this word, that what exactly is a sexual colored remark. I'll give you certain examples which can really help you understand. You look good in this outfit today. It really shows your curves. So till the time it was, you really look good today, it was a compliment. When you go and take it further and says, it really shows your curves today, that becomes a sexually colored remark. You have a very seductive voice. You are too hot to be taken seriously. If a girl gets a project because of her hard work, she's often said, whom did you please to get this project? Such kind of remarks are definitely not welcome anytime, anywhere, by any place. Next point here is showing pornography. As the term clearly indicates, telling somebody that please come on my phone, I'll show you something nice, something good. And any kind of pornography within office, with office colleagues, definitely not a welcome at all. Any other unwelcome physical, verbal, non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. Now, here again, I want to stop a little bit more. When we are saying unwelcome, what do we understand by the word unwelcome? If I'm trying to touch you and you are trying to say, move your hand away, that's an indication. This is not welcome. If it is physical, verbal, now verbal, we all know. What are unverbal cases? Unverbal cases in today's, non-verbal cases in today's scenario are so many. You are just staring at the person from down to top, trying to give stares across to the person, rolling your eyes and making the other person understand in a different language, double word meanings and double word sentences. Even exclusion. Consciously excluding a person from a meeting would also go into a non-verbal conduct, which is not, again, a very welcome thing. It creates a hostile environment, which doesn't help any kind of productivity. Then we are talking about, like I mentioned, creating an intimidating or hostile work environment, which stops the women from projecting her best self. And when it is done because a senior is interfering with the workflow, it is often called quid pro quo. Quid pro quo in simple terms would mean this for that. So I'll give you a promotion. You allow me some sexual favors. That's like quid pro quo, often done by people in authority when they are in position of power, misusing the power and going across to sexual harassment. Alongside this, we will talk about various forms of sexual harassment. First step is prevention, is recognition. What is sexual harassment? Sometimes women feel that टच ही तो किया था उसने मुझे. ठीक है, एक बार टच किया था अननोन तरीके से, शायद you were the only one feeling that it is uncomfortable. But sometimes it is not the intent of the person who is touching you. It is sometimes the impact which it is causing on you. A girl had come up to me saying that, ma'am, that person is a very friendly person. He comes around, taps everybody's backs, touches everybody on their back, handshakes with everybody. Everybody is comfortable. But somehow, when he touches me, I freeze. I'm not able to work anything. I feel that, that hand on my shoulder should go away first, and then only I'll be able to speak anything. So here what we are saying is that is unwelcome. The girl did not want it. It was a physical touch. Hence, it gets into the category of sexual in nature. It was subjective because it was her feeling, which she was not being comfortable about. And most importantly, impact. The impact on her was not the same as everybody else. So for any person to approach, they should understand that impact on the person is more important, and how the impact on the other person is, that is how one should behave. Various forms of quid pro quo of sexual harassment was one. I told you, quid pro quo, that is this for that. I'll give you a promotion and you can give me some sexual favors. I'll help you with that project, or I'll give you some time to speak in a presentation. Or the reverse. The reverse will be, if you don't give me sexual favors, I'll complain about you. So that's all threats comes under creating a hostile work environment and sexually harassing the person. Other forms were physical, verbal, and non-verbal. Let me help you with some more examples of verbal and non-verbal. A manager who consistently shouts during the meetings and using all the cuss words during the meetings. Obviously, this is verbal, clearly verbal. And then we are talking about a team member who rolls his eyes and sighs, oh, now she's come. So that kind of reaction when it comes out through the eyes, that's obviously a non-verbal way of harassment. A senior manager who jokes about someone's accent or appearance. This is verbal form of sexual harassment. Telling the other person that their dress is looking good is normal compliment. But when I'm talking in a seductive tone, wow, your dress is looking really good today. Who are you there to impress? That is definitely a no-no in the workplace. It is clearly verbal. Then we are talking about a co-worker who is intentionally excluding you, like I just mentioned, from discussions. That's a non-verbal form of harassment. Sending sexually suggestive memes is again no, absolutely. So I'm often asked this question as well: can I compliment someone at work? Yes, you can. Obviously, you can compliment anybody at your workplace. But if that compliment is coming along with a whistle or coming along with a leering stare from the employee, that is definitely a no-go. You can simply identify it very easily, between a compliment and this. When we say, Smita, you look great in this outfit. Well, that's a compliment. And when I say, Smita, you look great in this outfit, sometimes it becomes difficult to control. I hope you're getting my point. Which of these two sentences was actually a compliment and the other one a case of sexual harassment? Right? Next slide, please. Yes. So another example we have. You need to join office. Work from office has started. Why my physical presence is required? Is it not sexual harassment? No, absolutely not. This is not sexual harassment. The COVID is over, guys. We need to come back to office. Highest productivity is when we are talking face to face. Like we couldn't have this glitch today if we were more face to face. Taking it further, it is the employer's responsibility as per the Act to ensure that women at workplace are taken care of. The employer has to lead by example. Even a single case which is coming up to the employer has to be dealt with zero tolerance. The employer has to ensure that protecting employees by creating a safe environment where everyone feels secure, valued, they can speak up, they don't need to fear anything. That's protection. Then we talk about inspire. By taking proactive measures and advocating for equity to make the workplace a better and fairer place for all. Next, we would like to pick up who all are covered. Any employee, any female employee, whether it's a director, senior management officer, employee, staff, interns, trainees, any other personnel working in the company, or even any visitor visiting another company, they are all covered under the Act. So, for that matter, any female employee is covered under the Act. Next, we would like to say, what is a workplace? Workplace is any location within the company premises or any other place visited by the company employees for work or in the professional capacity. This includes traveling together, official tasks, even going for informal gatherings together. Like going to a Diwali party, office Diwali party. That is a workplace. Traveling in the bus to office, that is an extended workplace. So any place where we are going, where we are traveling for going towards our work, comes under workplace. Next, I'd like to look into internal committee. Now, internal committee is a very important part of the POSH Act. Every organization should have an internal committee in order to address such complaints. The employee goes up to the internal committee to complain. The internal committee has a very clear-cut composition. There have to be minimum 4 members. The first member and the presiding officer has to be a senior female only. Has to be a senior female only. And then the internal committee should have an external member always. A neutral party who doesn't belong to the organization but knows about the POSH Act, has been teaching people about the POSH Act, is associated with NGO, all the more better, is a lawyer practicing POSH cases, all the more better. So an external member can have any of these qualities. The rest 2 members of the internal committee again should be from the organization. And out of these 4 internal committee members, minimum 50% of them should be women. So 1 being presiding officer and rest out of the 3 minimum people required, another one has to be a female. And this information should be displayed very clearly on the premises of the organization. Now, very importantly, what can be done to deter sexual harassment? This is often the case that we know what is sexual harassment, we're feeling it, we know it, it's uncomfortable. What can we do? That's also very simple actually. First is refusing to participate in any activity. By refusing, I simply mean saying a no. No doesn't mean disrespect under any case. No doesn't mean that I have to take it on my ego. You have to simply refuse. If you are not happy in a particular situation, you're uncomfortable in a particular situation, please showcase your displeasure clearly in any situation which makes you feel uncomfortable. Letting that situation be and thinking it will go away on its own? No, sorry. We have to learn to speak up. Speaking up is really important. Next, what we can do is we can support our colleagues who decide to reject any unwelcome behavior. Often as a bystander, we think that it's not happening to me. Well, if it is not happening to you today, it may happen to you tomorrow. You are the one who has to take care of it today. Support your colleagues who decide that they have to reject any such behavior. Lastly, act as a witness. Witness if your colleague is being harassed and decides to lodge a formal complaint. Right? Next, we would like to go for process of filing a complaint. Now, what is filing a complaint? Wherein an aggrieved individual, the person who of any age, whether employed or not, alleges to have been subjected to the act of sexual harassment by another individual. So this, I am reading the definition as per the Act, but in simple terms, it would definitely mean if I am the person who's feeling uncomfortable about it, I need to speak about it. I am the aggrieved individual. And the person against whom the complaint has been done is called the respondent. Now, how can I approach this IC team, or who can I complain to? I am the aggrieved individual and I have to complain against the respondent. There are 4 channels of communication usually available for us. One is the IC team. So IC team of the company, IC team of the respondent's company, in case both the employees are not belonging to the same organization. Let me say there is an incident which happened in a co-working space in a lift. So in a co-working space in the lift, if the female has been harassed, she can approach the IC committee of her company. She can approach the IC committee of the respondent's company. She can also choose to go to the district office of the region. Any office of district office of the region is all available on the internet, and every district office of your region will have a women officer employed for all the women and children related issues specifically. So we can all go on the internet and search for the district office for your region. Next slide, please. And another medium is the She Box, that is a sexual harassment e-box. It is a portal created by the government where the female can go directly on the internet and post her complaint. Lastly, a female can always go to the police as well, lodge an FIR under section 354 and 509. The police FIR is also an option available for all men as well. And most important of all is now a complaint. A complaint has to have basic 4 things: a date, a time, a venue, where it happened, and 4th thing, details. What really happened? The complete details. An employee should be able to complain within 3 months of the incident. It can definitely go beyond that 3 months as well, in case there are some situations which didn't allow the person to complain about it. But the complaint has to be there, and the complaint has to be there clearly in writing. Because if the complaint is not in writing, many times formal action is not taken. If you want to voice it out and create it as a warning for the employee, yes, you may not go ahead for a formal complaint. But without a formal complaint, it might just be a warning to the other person whom you want to let them know that they have done something which is out of league. The IC team will not initiate any action suo motu just by knowing it. And the complaint can be given by, somebody of your relative or somebody known in that situation as well, only if the aggrieved individual herself is incapable of doing it. Otherwise, usually it is a case of the employee herself going across and writing a complaint, along with all the witnesses and whatever happened exactly. Right. Next, the IC team has to now get into work once it gets the complaint. Within 7 days, the IC team has to respond to the aggrieved individual that they're taking up this case. And IC team has also to give a notice to the respondent who has done the act of being the perpetrator. The perpetrator gets 10 days to file his reply along with a list of documents, names, or addresses of witnesses which they want to come back with it, stating that the case was true or not the way it was presented earlier. Now the IC committee gives a reasonable opportunity to both the complainant and the respondent to put forward their respective cases. It's like an individual discussion. It's not like a team discussion wherein all sit in a meeting and chat about it. No, it's an individual discussion. First, a proper inquiry with the aggrieved individual, then a proper inquiry with the respondent, and then with the witnesses. That is why the entire team has to sit together through all these three meetings, create their notes. The best part about this entire act is that it has to give a response within 90 days from the date of the complaint. There may be exceptional extension in rare instances where certain evidences may take longer time. But generally, 90 days is the accepted time. And organizations which have the IC, their decision is almost considered final as it has the powers of the civil court. And the management often relies on the advices given by the IC. Important to note here is the timelines. Submission of the complaint has to be within 3 months of the last incident. Notice to the respondent by the committee has to be within 7 days of receiving the complaint from the respondent. Within the next 10 days, the respondent can give a response back to the committee. The entire duration of the inquiry would be 90 days. Post 90 days, the inquiry committee gives their suggestion or gives their report across to the management and the HR team for further action. The implementation on the recommendations given by the IC has to take another 60 days. And once the submission of the report is submitted, it needs to be given to both the aggrieved individual and the respondent as well. The Act allows you for an appeal as well, in case you are not comfortable with whatever the solution, whatever the resolution given by the IC team, there's an appeal as well. Appeal would also mean that you can go back to your IC, but most of the times it is like going to the second options, like not just your IC team, you can go to the district office, you can go to the she box, you can go to the police. So that is the second, third, fourth options available if I'm not satisfied with the way the case was dealt in the first time. Now, these are some of the penalties which are often given under the Act. Service rules are to be followed as per misconduct. So in case there's a termination due, as per the service rules, if it states very clearly that no form of sexual harassment will be accepted and it will be considered as a termination as per the terms of employment, then a termination is given at the first go. Many times, as per the IC team, a written apology is given, a warning is given, reprimand, withholding of promotions, withholding of pay increases, counseling sessions, community service, any kind of financial damages or anything. Right? There are equally same number of penalties if there is a false case. So Section 14 of the Act is very clear in this, that in case the female has put up a fake complaint, it is dealt equally harshly in terms of the same kind of punishments like a termination, suspension, or a written apology. Even community service or criminal charges can be pressed under Section 182 of the IPC. There are so many cases which keep happening everywhere. I'd like to share with you a lot of cases which have often happened. Or like there was a girl, Kamini. I'm just changing the name, so these are some informations, which we keep getting from the net about live cases which happen, and some of the situations which have happened in the organizations which I have worked. So Kamini, a bright young girl, a team leader, working in a call center, known to be forthright, dedicated, hardworking, is a perfectionist. Kamini stays back at work late one evening and her colleague Ravi to complete work for an important presentation. Ravi offers to buy Kamini a dinner and later drop her to the home. After dinner, Ravi proposes to Kamini that he would like to spend the night with her. Kamini refuses politely but firmly and goes home. Next evening, Ravi repeats his request And on Kamini's refusal, he threatens her that if you don't agree to me, I will tell everyone that you were trying to make a pass at me. This is the kind of things which happen so common. And very sadly, it happens because the perpetrator often feels that I am a person of privilege and I can do that. I am doing the other person a favor, or hence I can do that. And this happens in so many situations. Let me tell you another story. This is Sumedha, a captain of the Indian Army. She has refused to make an offer made by a senior officer for a relationship. Sumedha has kept quiet about this experience, but thanks to the rumor mills by the senior officer, she has acquired the reputation of being an easy girl now, easy virtue. Now every other officer comes back and asks her whether she is ready to go out with him. So what has really happened for her is a hostile work environment has been created for her, which she can't do anything about. When she turns around and processes around it, she is singled out. And being in the army, what is the punishment that a senior can give to the junior mostly? Additional round of physical training. People might think that it is coming out of any other activity that, okay, she might be lacking in her performance, but sorry, it took the form. It started with sexual harassment. Very important here, which I wanted to take care is about creating a hostile work environment which doesn't support the female at all. I'll tell you a situation about a young girl who was working in a manufacturing concern. And coming from a tier 3 city, her parents had educated her, got her a nice job. She was working in this manufacturing concern. One of the days when it was raining heavily and she was standing at the gate while leaving for her home, another co-employee who had a bike asked her if I can drop you to your home. And she agreed. Since it was raining, she said, okay. She went back along with the person. 2-3 days later, again, when the same person found her standing and he realized that I can drop her again, it's on my way, he dropped her again. And similarly, he started picking and dropping her. Now, that was just a case of picking and dropping her. But what went really wrong here was the gossip. We often indulge ourselves in so gossip. When it went around that तू तो उस लड़के के साथ घूमती फिरती है अब. She couldn't do anything about it. Just stop going around with that person did not stop the gossip at all. Slowly, it reached her hometown as well. And she was told to come back to her hometown by her parents, stating that, this is what you're doing when you're going and working. Better come back home. A girl with a budding career no longer left to pursue any of her career because of an environment created by gossip. And it also happened with the boy as well, since he felt that he was the person responsible for the girl losing his job. He also left the company. So the company also was now short of two very hardworking and good people. So somewhere as an employee, we have to take care not just about creating the right environment, but also understanding what will my gossip or what will do these certain things which I'm doing on a daily basis impact on a larger scale. These some practices we have to take care on a regular basis at our places. These are some cases which help us create a wonderful environment. For organizations, I would like to say that there are some best practices like keep a gender neutral policy and display it in the organization. If we are not able to, at the start of everything, create a POSH committee because of not having a senior female employee, Let's start with a code of conduct committee. Let's start with a relationship policy. Let's start with a dress code policy if needed. Another good practice that I have often seen with certain good organizations is regular training in POSH awareness and gender sensitization. This should be part of the induction training program. I'd also like to take it further through some uh, case study examples which really happened in situations. And I'd like you to think for a little while before I come down to this, what the final decision was. Seema has just joined the organization. She's a colleague who dresses up often in Western clothes, including short skirts. Raman is an extrovert from and a friendly employee in the same team. During lunch at the pantry, they happen to be seated opposite each other. While normal chatting, Raman said that if you dress up smartly and look an absolute class apart. Seema took this very personally and she thought that he hardly knows Raman to have made this comment. Now, I would like you to think a little while. How would you have investigated this particular case? Finally, looking at the facts, the committee gave the decision that the remark was not intentional, made to harass Seema. Raman was sensitized by the committee to be mindful of his comments about physical appearance of every woman because every woman takes it differently. Women are not at work to showcase their beauty and their body. They are firstly there to work. If you compliment a woman's work, it is accepted much more rather than how I am looking. Many times I'm not coming for my looks. So Raman was sensitized about this particular fact. And Seema was also told that as a colleague and as a new colleague, she could have expressed her displeasure very directly to the person himself so that such a remark would have never happened again. She was too shy to speak it up. Had she shown her clear intent of a no, it would have been easy. Next case I would like you to read through this is Ria got a call from Suresh, her supervisor, stating that due to his influence, she has become a subject matter expert. He assured her that within a year's time, he will make her team leader. Suresh needed something in return from her. Initially, Ria thought that he needs a party, but he asked her to spend one day and night with him. Ria decided to report this to the committee. So again, I would like you to give it a thought of a minute. What should the committee take as an action? Yeah. So looking at the facts, the committee gave a clear indication that Suresh made his intentions of sexual favors very clear, and hence he was told to resign. A third case which I would like you to look here is Amit and Priya had a relationship in an organization. They met as colleagues and got into a relationship. They never declared their relationship in the office. However, in the tenure within the organization, they broke up. Priya brought the complaint to the committee and Amit is harassing her. However, she did not disclose the relationship history and some important facts. However, during the entire investigation, it did come out that Amit was threatening her that he will share their relationship pictures and messages with the team if she does not get back to him. He had been threatening her for a few months now. So, how would you have taken up this case? So, like we see, there was a lot of cases here, a lot of things to take care of. One, it was evident that Priya had tried to conceal certain facts of the case knowingly, making it understandable that if the team has to search for it, they'll search it for themselves. Hence, he got a warning letter for concealing certain facts. Amit behaved inappropriate and unprofessional way and harassed his colleague. Looking at the evidences, the company decided to give him a warning letter and he had to give an apology letter to Priya. He was also moved to a different team so that they do not work in the same team and have no physical contact on the office floor. Well, that would be all from my side for today. Thank you, everybody. Over to you, Avishi.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving such a wonderful presentation. And I think what you have taught us today is very important under all the companies and at all professional workplaces. So, before moving ahead, I would like you to give a one piece of important advice for everybody who's working as a corporate professional.
So, I would like to say um, people come to office for work first. So, praise their work. If a female is having the courage to stand up and give a presentation, obviously the dress and how she comes up, how she looks does matter. But when you're praising, praise her work rather than her body. Thank you.
That was a very professional and a very wonderful advice, ma'am. Now, I would request you all to start posting your comments and or questions in the live chat. As I can see already, there are a few questions. We'll ask them directly to the ma'am, and she'll answer them all one by one. So, if you have any other questions, start posting in the live chat, and we'll get them answered. So, starting with the first question, uh, what does a man do if he is sexually harassed? Is there no law for men?
Okay. So, yes, the act started with a female Bhavri Devi. Hence, it is for women only. And women have, by and large, been the person, been the gender who needs a push because of our so many ages. Women have been inside their home, and now they need a push. Hence, the act created by the government is for the women only. But today, a lot of organizations are creating a gender neutral policy, which means that a person of any gender can go up to the IC committee and the complaint will be dealt in a similar manner. In fact, it has happened, case did went across through me, where a person from a sales team did come up to me and say that, man, this team leader of mine, he's been harassing me. She tries and touches me knowingly, tries and pushes me whenever she comes and sits in a meeting, sits pretty close to me. Though my other male friends are telling me, that it's okay, I should enjoy, but I am not comfortable. So when this guy came up to me, I was happy that he was able to come up, though he did come up very late. He came up almost after 10 months of suffering this situation under the team leader. And this couldn't be taken as a formal case because, as per the act, obviously it was a women only. But there are other ways. As an HR, I had the opportunity to go up to the senior manager, the person who was the team leader of the lady team leader, the senior manager of the lady team leader. And I just had to tell that senior manager that, look, there is this female in your team. I know she's very important for your team because she's very hardworking. She's got you some very good results. But because of certain behavior, this is going to not go in her favor. We'll have to tell her to go. So if you talk to her in your own style, with your own team leader, I think neither HR nor the IC team or anybody needs to come up. And this situation can be resolved within the company to have a beautiful culture. So having said that, this situation definitely got resolved. But for men, as I mentioned earlier, they can directly go up to the police and lodge an FIR under section 354 and under section 509. A man can complain of being sexually harassed by any other person.
So, with
Thank
your
you.
answer, ma'am, I conclude that there is no particularly men involved under the POSH Act, but of course, there are indirect measures which can be taken. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess you have your answer. Now, the second question is, What is the upper limit for filing a complaint under the POSH Act from the date of incident?
So, as per the Act, it is like 3 months from the date of the last incident. It can be extended for another 3 months in case the aggrieved individual states why she couldn't have come up within the 3 months. But I would state that this is the law. So, up to 6 months, I would say, company will accept. But even if you're coming up to a case, after 6 months, I would encourage girls to please come up, boys also to please come up and not sit silent about it. It may not go under a formal complaint, but this is important for the culture of your own company. This is important for the environment. So the act may say up to 6 months. 3 months is definitely okay, but 3 months with an exception as well. That's how it is. Thanks.
Okay, so let's take another question, ma'am. It said, is the company responsible for sexual harassment committed towards an employee when they are out of office or say at a client meeting somewhere?
Yes, it all comes under extended workplace. If you're going out with a senior employee, and specifically if you're going out with your manager to a particular client, that is an extended workplace 100%. You're traveling along in a bus, in a plane, that is an extended workplace. So if an untoward incident happens in an aeroplane, it can be reported. You're going for work. If you're even going for a small meeting outside with your manager, saying you, let me say you decide to have a small meeting, a small gathering, which today often through informal gatherings happen in the coffee house as well. But if it is like a manager and a team member, it falls under the purview of extended workplace.
All right. There's a very interesting question, ma'am, and I guess it's a very question that is in dilemma to a lot of employees, even I would say students in the schools, colleges also, but mostly workplaces also. The question says, if the girl is always smiling when I pass her a compliment, but then she has complained against me. She did not
Mm-hmm.
say that she was uncomfortable with my compliments. What can I do?
Okay. Okay. So this is the point for the girls as well. They
Yeah,
were not
that's what I was.
clear, right? They were not clear. But what I'd like to say is, here comes an important point about consent. If a girl was smiling earlier, doesn't mean she'll keep smiling always. And sometimes it is the non-verbal cues which come across. Like I mentioned during my presentation, keeping my hand on the other person's hand and the other person just shirking it away.
It is a response.
Even if the shirking away is happening with a smile, please understand this as a response, right?
Yes.
And consent is very important. Consent and comfort. If she was smiling earlier, doesn't mean she has to smile every time.
Right.
And comfort. Comfort. Was she comfortable? What was her body language? Did she push herself back? Earlier she said yes. Now she's saying no. Yes, now she's saying no. Earlier she was okay. Now she's not okay. Yes, now she's not okay. Giving no response doesn't mean consent is there. Giving no response means no response. No response doesn't mean a yes. So we should definitely not go assuming that it is a yes.
So I guess from this answers of yours, I can ask the girls also. If you are uncomfortable, say it. Don't even let the men,
Yes,
get into dilemma or question. If you are interested, that's your consent. That's your thing. That's your problem. But even if you feel 10% uncomfortable, say it right there, right now, because it will then unnecessarily create a hostile environment for the men as well. It will create certain
absolutely.
differences in between them, between the workplace, the environment also, right now.
Absolutely. And please note how you say makes a lot of difference.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
no is not a form of disrespect. Often I see young adults coming back and saying, if I say no, that will be disrespecting. no. If you're saying no to a particular situation, you are clearly showing that you're not interested in this particular act. If you have got a weird text on your mobile, you can simply state that this was weird, I didn't like it. Maybe can we go to the original topic? Instead of ignoring that remark, make a remark which says that you are not okay with it. And please, I mean, specifically to the young adults, no is not a form of disrespect. You have to speak up. Thank
I
you.
think the advice that you have given earlier, I will take this advice much more personally. That uh, if you are getting no, and even if you are saying no, please understand that it is not a form of disrespect. It is just somebody's consent. That is it. Don't take it disrespectful towards you. Don't make it disrespectful towards others. So, moving ahead to another question. Can you explain how the definition of workplace under POSH has evolved, especially with the hybrid or remote work settings now?
So, workplace has gone viral. I should put it this way. Yeah, with a lot of things happening online today, there are a lot of cases where I've come across like first is about being inappropriately dressed. You're coming for a meeting and the manager has called a female team member across on a meeting, but he dresses inappropriately or dresses scantily. That's completely a no-go. Then I'm talking about cases wherein you ensure that it is always a late night meeting. Having a late night meeting once in a while is okay. But if it is always a late night meeting, it is going into the purview of POSH.
That's an eye opener.
So such small things you have to be very careful about. And online, like I said, showing pornography, definitely incorrect. But even texting double meaning words,
Or I guess
very important to put a
uh,
stop to it there and there.
even asking to work together in late night, I should that can also be covered under this, I guess.
Yes, yes, it does come under this. You can't have a meeting every night only. I mean, I agree that there are extended meetings which go across, but it cannot be that you have a meeting every night only. There is definitely not there's a clear line of demarcation between what is official, what is non-official. And when you're working at night only, extended hours, working during family time, not okay.
Let's take this one last question, ma'am. In how many days the respondent has to give their written response?
The respondent, as I mentioned, has to give the response within 10 working days from the time that he has received the complaint from the IC.
Okay. With this, we have come to the end of this session. I would like to thank you, ma'am, for this amazing and insightful session. Through this session, the employees will not only just feel respected at their workplace, they'll also feel heard. So I think this is what our session was meant to deliver, and I think we have done that very well. I would like to thank you again for associating with Education Nest and delivering this very insightful session.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Ayushi and Education Nest, for this opportunity.
Okay,
Glad if
with
I could make a difference and help everybody.
definitely. With this, all of you, we have come to the end of this session, and thank you so much for joining us in this session and staying till the end, keeping in mind all the problems that we faced today. But thank you so much for joining. And if you like our webinars, do like and comment in the box and share this message as much as you can to with your employees, with your seniors, with your HRs, everybody, so that they can get awareness as much as possible. And I, Aishi Mishra, am signing off with this from this webinar today, but I'll meet again to you in the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.